Hi, Hustle and Sparkle community. Thanks so much for being with us today. Today we're here with my very good friend, Leanne Jacobs. I was going to call you by your maiden name. And Leanne is the author of a book called Beautiful Money, and that's what we're talking to her specifically about today and really getting our minds in that money mindset. So thank you so much for being with us today.
Having me. And I love your office.
Oh, thank you. Thanks. First off, can you share a little bit about yourself and where the inspiration for the book came from?
Yeah, so I've sort of, April, really, you've been my inspiration for entrepreneurship because I never.
You're too kind.
No, I never thought of having my own business. In university, it was always like, get a job and go work your butt off and get a great promotion. And so I tried that, but it didn't really work out so well. The more my corporate career moved forward, the bigger toll it took on my health. And I also realized that even though my income was going up about like 3% a year, which is kind of not, it's not even usually that much anymore with a little bit of a raise, the toll it was taking on my health wasn't worth the extra money.
Yeah.
So after going through a divorce, really I got to a place at about 27 where I was needing to realign. And I realized that I'm not happy, and I love what Wayne Dyer says, like, life is not a rehearsal. Mm-hmm. So I decided that I was going to try to figure out what did I want. So I sold everything, went through a divorce. My husband actually found my book in New York, and he sent me a Facebook message that he found my book, which was really great. So 27 was like a life reset for me. And that's where Beautiful Money, the concept of Beautiful Money, it's really the more enlightened and conscious path to wealth creation. We can all make money by hustling, and working hard. But what the book is about is, walking out your destiny and finding the abundance as you're pursuing that path.
Okay.
So that's really what the book is about.
Oh, that's amazing. And because I've had the pleasure of knowing you, I know truly this has been a journey, this book. Yeah. And you've run into more than one obstacle along the way in trying to get it published and get it done. So what words of wisdom can you give to those entrepreneurs out there where they really have a dream and they're hitting up against some really big walls, and just some tips to persevere and keep moving forward?
Yeah, so I think for anyone who listens to TD Jakes ever, like I like his videos, and he says, like, if you commit to leadership, be careful what you ask for, because if you say that to yourself, like, oh, I want to be that person, or I want that successful business, it's going to mean challenge.
Yeah.
And what T.D. Jakes says is the more conflict you can learn how to deal with, the more you get paid.
You just have to remember that.
Yeah.
And be grateful for it.
Totally. And I think
because in the moment it can be easy to forget.
And we don't see the whole picture, right?
Yeah.
Like, we just see a little tiny piece of what our reality is right now, but we don't know, like, maybe to hold space for a massive business, you got to learn some serious shit right now that you're not great at. You need to learn how to set boundaries. You need to learn to deal with haters. You need to, like, we just see the drama of the second that's happening, but there's a divine plan happening. And I always look at a challenge as, okay, that this is probably keeping me from a bigger challenge that would be happening down the road if I don't learn it now.
Right.
And so
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, like with Beautiful Money, definitely had massive challenges. Took my vision board down for like 24 hours because I was feeling so defeated. But with the right people around you, and like I have a great husband who took my vision board out of the garage and hung it back up. And I, just having, like, my lawyer, he was like, don't give up. You just keep going, start from scratch again. But when you've put in 5 years and hundreds of hours, you have a moment where you feel like a victim. The challenge with people is those people who stay in their victim. They're hemorrhaging life force every day, and they're costing themselves thousands of dollars. Yeah. It's like, move on.
Yeah. Well, I've learned a lot from you about practicing my energy when conflicts come up to move through them quickly so it doesn't hold me back. And that's been something, it takes time, it takes practice, but that's been something I've really learned a lot from you. At Hustle and Sparkle, we talk a lot to new entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, startups, and I wanted to get your top 3 tips on how they can really cleanse financially to prepare for that entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah.
If that's even possible.
Totally. So I think I'm a big believer that, like Bob Proctor says, is you got to create the space for the beauty you desire. So there's probably a lot of heaviness in your life, everybody, that's holding us back from the next financial flow, the next level of financial flow. So it doesn't have to be what I did, which was sell everything and give everything away. That didn't feel in alignment. But that is a great way to start. And you can start small, like maybe it is just like something you're doing that you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. Or for me, it was like getting over people pleasing. I was always worried about disappointing people, so I would say yes to everything until I was like, my whole day was run by the people pleasing, and I was like, there's something wrong with this, right? So clearing space, in my opinion, is the best place to start. And it can be small. Like some people might feel a bit overwhelmed to clear their whole life at once. Or, you know, I didn't have family when I started this journey, so I could clear everything and sell my house and go travel. Not everybody can do that. So start small, baby steps. It could be, you know, I look at it as it's not what you pick to cleanse, it's the act of clearing that's going to create the space. So whether you pick your clothes or your kitchen cupboard or your car or your schedule, it doesn't matter. It's the art of clearing, and it's the energy that you're clearing that creates the space. Okay. There's a great book, I don't remember the exact title, but it's about the gift of the pause. It's like we are afraid of a pause in our life. We don't know, we feel ungrounded, we don't know what to do with it.
Right.
So the act of clearing, try this at home. Like if you clear your schedule for a week and say, I'm taking the next week off, look at how quickly something will run in there.
Oh, for sure.
I try this a lot, and then someone will be like, oh, well, how about we just go for lunch to stay? And it, of course I want to, but it's about, the space is really hard to keep.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
It takes a lot of discipline. Because it's not how we roll. So clearing is actually a muscle, and that create, you know, I try to do it every day, even if it's like one tiny little thing. Like yesterday I got my car detailed. It wasn't about the car, it's about the energy of feeling chaotic.
Mm-hmm. That's a good feeling. I love the car detail.
So it's just try one thing every day that creates that clearing feeling.
So in the book, you talk a lot about Mel Robbins' F-bomb. Mm-hmm. And this is the TEDx talk that made her famous, where she says that the epidemic of today is that we're all fine. Mm-hmm. And I think as entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs, it's so easy to run up against criticism and second guess yourself, and then we default into that, oh, it's fine, I'm fine, my life is fine. Even though we want more, we can be more. Yeah. More is just waiting for us there to accept it and be it and live it. Yeah. But how would you recommend women who really want to be their own boss, or really even want to take their own business to the next level? Yeah. How do you give up on, this is fine, like, because they want to be grateful for what they have, and they are grateful for what they have, but moving beyond fine?
Well, for me, it's always, I look at, like, I project down my life and look at, okay, when I'm 90, am I going to regret not trying? Yeah. I always ask myself that, because, again, it's not a rehearsal, right? So if you're going to regret not trying, and I also look at it, like, I think we're similar this way, like, I do look at, okay, what's worst case scenario? Mm-hmm. It's not like I just jump into things. But if the worst case scenario is really not that risky, then it's only our mindset that's holding us living small. Okay. And one of the questions, like, if we're not evolving in our life, we're going to start feeling frustrated and depressed and anxious. Those feelings are really our litmus test, our temperature of how we're doing. And it's when we start feeling stale or stuck or stagnant that we start getting pissed. Okay. And we don't even know why. It's just like anger and sometimes even to the point of depression, where we'll feel just like defeated. Yeah. And it's because we're not evolving and we're not moving. Like, the universe gives you symbols, but through your emotions, like, you're supposed to be moving. You're supposed to be graduating, and you're staying still. Right. So now I look at, when I start feeling frustration, it's like, okay, where am I living too small? Or where am I stopping my own momentum? What do I need to let go of? Right. Because I always want to be evolving. Yeah. So that is my philosophy, is like evolution every day. Okay. Now, female entrepreneurs, as we know, because we work with them every day, but is the fastest growing segment of the market. Mm-hmm. And what is some advice that
you would give women who are providing services, but we always want to give value and we tend to give things away for free because it makes us feel so good because we want to help,
Yes.
or we do it at a discount because I was our friends or want to be friendly or they'll soon to be friends. I'm not sure what the mindset is behind it, but what do you think that's all about, and how can women get beyond that and charge for what they're worth?
Yeah, so I call it wealth worth, and I do believe that part of it is that we don't feel worthy of charging our worth.
Okay.
And I know I would always do this, and even now I'll be like, oh, don't worry about it.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
the challenge becomes when you have no more space left in your life.
Right.
And then you become frustrated when you see somebody else do the same thing as you, charging full price, and their life is moving forward, and you're like, wait a second. So I do, obviously we all want to be open-hearted and generous. But at the same time, look at what comes up when, like I had this the other day, somebody wanted to hire me for a retreat. And I had a little fear coming up that if I charge my price, they're going to say, oh, well, I can't afford that, right? So, but it's my stuff that I'm projecting. Maybe for them, when they totally have a budget triple.
Yeah.
What I don't know.
Yeah.
So look at what comes up when somebody says, well, how much would you cost? Or how much is your product? Because it's usually our own stuff that wants to downplay.
Right.
And I believe that your net worth is a really great metric of self-worth. So as you develop your confidence and belief in your own worthiness, you'll see your annual income go up for sure.
Okay. Let's talk about perfectionism. This is a big thing for women, I
Yeah.
think. I don't see it as much with men, but I don't know. We tend to use perfectionism as a way to hold us back and really, I think, burst through in our businesses. In your opinion, how can women get beyond perfectionism and really take their business to the next level?
Well, I look at it energetically, and I think perfectionism, the search or being attached to perfectionism is the biggest hemorrhage of life force energy. It's like if you think about it in the morning, you only get a certain amount of energy each day that gets downloaded to you. And if you are somebody who waits for things to be perfect or you want to look perfect all the time, it is the fastest way to leak all your energy. And it costs a fortune.
Yeah.
And I think for me, like I'm all about like, why waste the energy trying to look a certain way? Authenticity, I think, is the new business card and the new money magnet. I was talking to my husband the other day. It's like, I'm at an event next month. It's like, I don't want to bring business cards. I want to have a life force energy that attracts business. And I think that that's the new money magnet, right? It's the new business card is being vibrant. And perfectionism definitely costs so much money, so much energy. And again, it's that that moment where you're like, okay, now it's perfect, will never happen.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, my belief is like, start it and then get better with time.
Yeah.
Just like wine.
Yeah. In the book, you talked a lot about the money flow, which was dream, expect, and act.
Yeah.
Can you take us through each of those steps and maybe just describe them in a tip for each? Because I thought it was a really amazing way to describe that process.
Well, the challenge with today's world is everybody is so busy acting. They're in action all the time.
Right.
But there's no system or strategy behind the action.
Okay.
Like if you ask people, what are you so busy doing?
Right.
They have no freaking idea.
Yeah.
It's just one big ball of crazy chaos.
Yeah.
Right?
You're right.
This is the problem. It's like strategic action is the plan. And also we want to be tuned into our destiny and our higher purpose. So this is why vision boards are so helpful, because they help us to get clear on what do we really want. I don't want to just be being busy and broke kind of person.
Right.
I want to, if I'm going to be busy, I want it to be towards a huge vision that I'm really clear about.
Yeah.
So clarity is really the master key. So creating that vision board and dreaming about what you really, really want will help you to avoid being in that trap of busy and broke.
Yeah.
Once you get clear on what you really want, the next one is, this is the hardest part. This is the part where most people struggle.
Okay.
And there isn't a magic pill you can take for this. It's practice. You have to, with every cell in your body, expect it's on its way.
Right.
Or it can't happen. It may happen eventually in 30 years.
Okay.
But it's that when you talk to somebody who's super confident, but not in an ego way, they just have a knowing that something is on its way. Like for you guys too with your charity, it's like you don't know how it's going to happen, but you just feel it's happening.
Yeah.
Like it's in the works. That has to be the energy and emotional state for somebody to manifest.
Okay.
So the expectation should take actually more of the work than the action.
Okay.
More work should be putting into getting into that place of like, I have a knowing that it's on its way.
Right.
And then once you're there, then act.
Okay.
Because that's gonna you're gonna be able to flow more.
Oh, okay.
It's not that you can't do it in a forced way,
Yes.
but people burn out, right?
Right.
To do it in a really conscious and aligned way, it's about, okay, spend more time on the place of feeling that you know it's on its way so that you have to act less.
Okay. Oh, that's brilliant.
And in a less dramatic way
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, that's a great way to explain it. That's amazing. Thank you so much for being with
Thank
us
you for
today.
having me.
Really appreciate it. Amazing, amazing tips. Of course, go out and get the book, Beautiful Money. And Leanne has a special downloadable for us, which is some tips on staying on money flow. So be sure to download that underneath the videos. So thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.